Deep in the heart of a primeval rainforest, the air split with a sound like violently boiling water. But when the mist cleared, there wasn't a drop of water to be seen. Only thousands of glinting wings sent a chill down my spine. I felt like an insect caught in a spiderweb, helpless and alone. A massive silverback gorilla froze mid-step, his dark eyes narrowing into slits as the first wasp darted past his face. Then came another, and then another. In a heartbeat, a swirling cloud of killer wasps descended from the canopy, their stingers glinting in the dappled sunlight filtering through the thick leaves above. The first sting hit the gorilla on the shoulder, sending a jolt of pain shooting through his powerful frame. He roared, more in shock than pain, thrashing wildly as the swarm descended. But the angry insects weren't backing off. They wanted him gone. Or worse, his huge hands, capable of crushing a man's skull like an eggshell, swatted at the air, each swing breaking the flight of several wasps. But the rest were too quick, darting around his flailing limbs and attacking him from all sides. They stabbed and stung, focusing on his face, neck, and under his arms where the skin was softest. In a panic, he ran, crashing through the undergrowth. Branches snapped under his weight, leaves whipped past his face, but the wasps were relentless, chasing him like a living storm. Each sting was a dagger of fire, every buzz a warning that this time he might not escape. With a terrifying buzz, the wasps swooped low, so close that the gorilla could see the individual hairs on their bodies. Some rode his back, clinging to his matted fur, while others burrowed into the thick vegetation behind him, stinging him through the gaps in the leafy wall. As if pulled by an invisible string, the furious gorilla stumbled into a small clearing. His chest heaved, back covered in welts. The angry wasps tightened their circle, sensing their prey's slowing speed. Exhaustion clawed at him, making his limbs feel heavy, like millstones around his neck. Just as despair threatened to engulf him, a glimmer of hope appeared above the trees. Two pairs of keen eyes, scanning the jungle below through binoculars, spotted the chaos, the drama unfolding in the clearing. Their eyes narrowed with understanding. They knew that danger. Those weren't ordinary wasps. Their sting could cause fever, swelling, even stop the heart if too many landed. But they also knew the gorilla's strength. If they could hold off the wasps long enough, he might make it out alive. One ranger quickly grabbed a canister filled with a thick, pungent smoke. The other scrambled down from the watchtower, a burlap sack slung over his shoulder. Inside, damp leaves rustled softly, packed tightly in a bundle. They would serve as fuel for a rescue. They had minutes, maybe less. The gorilla collapsed to his knees, trembling violently, his vision blurred by pain and fatigue. A wasp crawled onto his nose, its tiny legs tickling his skin, drawing a sharp intake of breath. The smell of smoke drifted through the air, faint but growing stronger. Suddenly, the wasps buzzed furiously, sensing danger, and launched themselves into the air, forming a dense, angry cloud. The smoke had arrived. Through the haze, the gorilla saw the figure emerge from the trees. Relief flooded him. Hope flared in his chest, momentarily banishing the pain and fear. The stranger walked slowly into the clearing, holding out the bundle of leaves. As he did, another ranger appeared, firing a second canister into the air. A plume of thick gray smoke billowed, twisting and turning like a ghostly wall. The wasps wavered, circling at the edge of the clearing, hesitant to enter the mysterious fog bank. But the man with the leaves beckoned again, urging the gorilla forward. With a Herculean effort, the gorilla pushed himself up, staggering toward the smoke. Coughing violently, he reached out for the bundle of leaves, instinctively knowing they held his salvation. The insects peeled away, driven back by the pungent smoke, scattered and vanished back into the shadowy depths of the jungle. The gorilla slumped against a tree, his body racked by shuddering breaths, muscles aching with exhaustion. The rangers kept the smoke around him until the last of the wasps were gone, ensuring the clearing remained a safe haven. Then, with a final glance at his rescuers, the magnificent creature turned and lumbered back into the forest. He left behind a trail of shattered leaves and disturbed earth, a testament to his struggle. He disappeared into the undergrowth, his scarred but living form a victory against the unseen forces of nature. Deep in the jungle, beneath the dense canopy where sunlight dared not reach, something stirred. A tiny figure clung to a leaf, its miniature face screwed in concentration as it surveyed the scene. Its large, luminous eyes followed the departing gorilla, its gaze unwavering. Then, with a flick of its tail, it disappeared into the labyrinth of vines and foliage, vanishing from sight. As the forest grew quiet, the only sound the gentle rustling of leaves in the soft evening breeze. The two rangers emerged from their hiding places. They met in the center of the clearing, their faces etched with concern and relief. Removing their helmets, they wiped the sweat from their brows, their movements economical, efficient. Years of experience had taught them the value of every drop of moisture in this unforgiving terrain. One ranger, his face weathered and lined like a roadmap of countless expeditions into the wild, spoke in hushed tones. His voice, though gruff, held a note of reverence for the creature they had just saved. He fought hard, the ranger said, his gaze distant, as if reliving the struggle in his mind. Never seen a silverback go down like that. His partner nodded, his eyes still fixed on the path the gorilla had taken. They don't usually come out of it, he replied, his voice barely a whisper. The older ranger let out a long breath, the tension draining from his shoulders. He made it, he said, more to himself than his companion. There was a moment of silence, broken only by the distant call of a bird. The two men stood in the gathering gloom, the fading light painting long shadows around them. The clearing, once a theater of a desperate struggle, was now a place of somber contemplation. The ordeal of the day sinking into the stillness of the forest. Wasps don't pick on a silverback unless he's already hurt or tired, the younger ranger finally said, pulling his binoculars back up to his face. He scanned the area where the gorilla had been attacked, searching for clues. There's always a reason, he added softly. The older ranger looked at him, his expression unreadable. Sometimes, he said, his voice heavy with unspoken wisdom, the reason is just to test if the big ones can fall too. Together, the two men stood watching over the fading evidence of the battle. They didn't need to speak. The events of the day hung heavy in the air between them. For deep in the heart of the rainforest, even the strongest can be brought down by the smallest. And sometimes survival depends not on power or strength, but on who's willing to stand between you and the danger. As the forest grew darker, the rangers prepared to leave. They had faced danger alongside a magnificent creature today, and they respected the jungle and its inhabitants too much to linger after sundown. Before they disappeared into the thickening shadows, the older ranger turned back to look at the clearing. The wind rustled through the leaves, whispering tales of the day's events. He wondered if the gorilla would return to this spot, if it would carry the memory of its brush with death. As the last rays of sunlight filtered through the canopy, the two rangers made their way back to the watchtower. The ascent was slow and careful, the rough terrain testing their agility and balance. The younger ranger, his gaze fixed on the path ahead, broke the silence. How often does it happen? He asked, his voice echoing in the stillness of the darkening forest. The older ranger paused, considering the question before replying. Not often, he finally said, his voice low. But when it does, we're ready. He gestured with his chin towards the watchtower, a silent acknowledgement of their shared duty. The night deepened around them, enveloping the forest in a blanket of darkness. As the sounds of the jungle grew louder, the rangers reached the safety of the watchtower. Inside, the space felt cramped after the vastness of the forest. The younger ranger, his curiosity piqued, pressed further. Do you think he'll be all right? He asked, nodding towards the forest floor. The older ranger, his face half shadowed, half lit by the dim lamp hanging from the ceiling, smiled faintly. He'll be all right, he repeated, his voice firm with conviction. The big ones know how to take care of themselves. He paused, his eyes distant as if seeing the gorilla disappear into the safety of the night. Most times, he added quietly, as if sharing a secret with the forest. And in that moment, the rangers were more than observers. They were part of the story, bound to the fate of the forest and its inhabitants by their shared experience. The jungle outside continued its nocturnal symphony, a chorus of buzzing, chirping, and rustling, a testament to the enduring pulse of life. As the night deepened, the rangers settled into their vigil, ready to stand guard over the secrets of the forest. Deep in the jungle, the story of the day echoed among the trees, a reminder that even in the darkest shadows, courage can shine through. The show is produced by the incredible team, and thanks to our supporters for making it possible. Now head over to our channel and subscribe because tomorrow we might tell your story.